Hey there, everybody. Here's another day and another project. So, bent lamination is what it is today, and here's my take on it. I've been trying to find some material to do it with, something like a 1/8" thick plywood, but basically door skins, everything I can get, and a lot of it's a little too pardon me, it's very stormy. Not sure if you can hear me. Basically, this is how I'm going to go about making my own material, and we'll see how it goes. Alright, here I am, part B. I did a little test and it looks like the wood is pretty resistant to the blade, so it's getting a little bit of smoke. See if this mask can help me avoid inhaling all that. And there's going to be a lot of dust, involved in it. And it's going to take a while, but here we go. I'm going to be cutting the boards upright. Never done anything like it before, but it seems to be working, so give it a shot. Well, with what I was doing there, the wood just wasn't strong enough, and the force of every now and again a little jerk from the blade was just cracking it, and that was ruining all progress. So stepped back from cutting it down the middle into two thin 1/8" pieces, into cutting it down the side, taking just an eighth off, and going down to a 1/4 inch, which I tested and seems to be quite flexible and is a lot more rigid at the same time. So once I do my lamination, it'll be stronger in the end. And I'll have some grain that's going this way and this way. It won't just be all going this way. I think it would have probably cracked really easily. I never thought about that, but it's good. Progress is in the right direction. Here's how I'm doing it. Well, put the breaker on the saw, working it real hard, but it's totally doing what I want it to do. I really like the way this stuff looks. If this is a piece that ends up facing out, I'll just sand that with a hand sander. But I really like the flexibility of it, and yet no cracking. I'm happy with that. Next step.
Alright, well, I've finished up cutting them, and I've got 3 for each side. I'm going to see how that works next, but right now I'm going to take the side that was originally just the exterior of the plywood, give it a quick wire brushing, make sure there's no loose stuff that's going to interfere with adhesion. Oh yeah, you can see what's happening. Not so bad there. Any funny business like this, I'm not going to worry about that. We'll get in there. This is a project made with mostly recycled wood, so I don't think that's going to affect the strength in the end. Bit of rain here, but almost done, and we'll get it in, dry and on. Bird crap, definitely not good for adhesion or breathing. Oh no, it's really raining. you're making some dust, it's not you're too lame to wear a mask. Mine just snapped. Breathe through your nose, it helps.
Alright folks, here we are now inside. Got my form here that I made previously. It's ghetto as you know what. But I think it'll get the job done. First I was going to make this not as wide as that, so it would have fit a little bit more snugly in there, but I think it's going to hold pretty firm together, and I'm going to face the rear of this, which is going to be facing towards a wall on the table that it's going to be a leg for, out in case it doesn't quite get that snug adhesion. And on the rear, on what's going to be the front, should stay nice and snug. Pinch it in there. You see what I got going here. And get a decent looking product. Now these are quite a bit longer than I need, but that gives me extra to work with. There's a little thin spot here and there like that. I can wiggle back and forth, and we'll just see how it goes. Which way I want to wiggle? That way. Yep, even though it's bending this way, it's better to wiggle it the other way. Whichever side has the grain going this way, it opens up these little cracks, so that allows you a little more wiggle room. Alright, now I know what I need to do is get some glue. Here we got a little skin. Bye-bye. Not worried about gloves. This is Tight Bond 3. It's a pretty standard wood glue, not that different from your typical white glues out there, and it's quite friendly to work with. Easy to clean up with water only, non-toxic to the best of my knowledge. Get it right to the edge. First I'm just going to get nuts and get it on there, nothing fancy. Spread it out perfectly after. It's a lot of glue in the end. Just realizing I don't have to glue right to the very end. I do have to decide where each board is gonna sit in the whole system of things before I get crazy and glue all the way to the ends, gluing over a foot that I don't need. Circular does the job. I'm trying to work it into the cracks I can see. Where there's cracks, there's air, and that air just resists the glue a little. You can see it if you look close. This one's got a few issues, no doubt. A little bit of cracking sound, I'm not worried about it though. Nothing's cracking unevenly, there's no huge singular stress region. Oh, that looks pretty good to me. I'm going to go right to the bottom. Looks like I've overglued by a bit, but hey, just a bit of glue. It's worth the extra simplicity over anything else here this time. Make sure you wrap your laminate layer in something like a plastic wrap, so you don't go back and go, oh, it looks great, and then you can't lift it off. I'm just going to double it up and make a simple channel out of it. Well, hopefully it's simple. It's kind of getting a little messed up on me already. Not worried about squeeze out up top. There's really nothing it's going to contact, but at the bottom here it'll glue her all to the board. Okay, so I finished putting all that together and it went pretty smoothly. One thing I'd say is be as organized as you can. Try and get everything together so that when you do put it in the form, you have less time between when you bend it and when you get it clamped in, so that that glue doesn't start drying before you get that clamping pressure on there. But I think it helped, so now it's time to pop it out of the form and see if it springs back at all. Pretty good. I don't sense any springing back whatsoever. Let's see if the plastic wrap will come off without a fight. A little bit in between the layers. I thought that might happen. But I'm going to sand that up and that should take care of it. Yeah, we're good. Well, there's the beginning of that. As you can see, it's a pretty rough product on the edge here, which is what's going to be showing. I tried putting the face that's going to be facing out down so I could get that to line up better, but you can see there's a little bit of an overlap thing going there. So I'm going to sand that down with like a really aggressive sander and put it back in the form after that. Glue these two pieces together right here once I've got everything cut up. So I'll show you that next. Well, maybe I'll even bring in a bit of footage of the sanding just so you guys get an idea of that. Alright, I've come up with a solution to the problem of evening out the edges of the wood, and this is it. I'm gonna get my protective gear on and fire up the old table saw and just trim it off with the smallest pass I can possibly do with the ripping guide. Well, other than a bit of burning, that worked out pretty good. It's a little tricky doing the curve through there like that, and I didn't have the blade up as high as I could have, but a little bit of sanding and that'll be way less effort in the long run, so that's the solution to that one.
And here we are. That's it.
Alright, I'm ready to throw it back into the form. The reason I didn't glue this all into one piece to begin with is because I figured it was going to be really difficult to try and get this side and this side on without somehow wrapping that plastic wrap I used earlier to keep it all from sticking to the board underneath around all of it. So this has made it way easier to do all that trimming and stuff too. I'm going to put this down because it's a lot less likely to get caught up in there than the plastic wrap for this part, because I'm just going to be putting glue right here only, and that way I won't get anything stuck in between, because now I'm a little bit more polished and I don't want to have to work to try and get rid of some ugly little things stuck in there. I push this in, make sure it's nice and snug. That way this part here will be as flat as it's ever going to be, because I'm trying to get a hinge on there. Doesn't get any better than that. That's about it for now. After that, fine tuning, and we'll finish this project up. Alright, it's been about 36 hours. Play it safe, and I'm ready to take the clamps off. A little bit of an overlap there. Not too bad up front though. I'm gonna clean that up. Well, this thing is really starting to come together. What I'm going to be doing next is I've prepped this piece of wood to be my top piece, and I'm going to measure it up to find out where the glue is going to sit. There isn't going to be much contact because in the end this is going to be trimmed right down to about 26 inches, which is about something like that. But this is great for clamping. I'm not going to trim it until the very end. First, I'm going to find out where those ends are. This jig here, or form, was built to be the right size about there, so this is about how much space I'm actually going to be putting glue on, not much. So I'm going to use a piece of tape to mark off underneath where the glue will be, so I don't put a bunch of overage on there. You'll be able to see that later and it'll just look like heck. So, one bit there. Well, maybe more like there. Hey there, one of the final steps on this project. I've popped it out of the form, trimmed it down. This is where my piano hinge is going to mount, and as you can see I've yet to trim the bottom, but I'm going to do that at the very end. So right now, just to add a little style and strength, trimmed up a little piece of wood, and that's going to go nicely in there. Again, I'm really fond of the white glue families, but something else like a Gorilla Glue would certainly do the job, and if there's any gaps, that Gorilla Glue definitely fills them nicely. But if your clamping's not just right, it can press things apart. Not that that's why I don't use it. I don't like cleaning up after that gnarly stuff gets all over. Super tricky to clean. Plus the bottles of glue always go dry on me before I'm done using them. This PVA style white glue, it goes through just about anything. Could survive nuclear war and it would still be good to go. An ice age anyways. Now in this one, there's really very little room to work. to clear out any overage, so I'm going to really work hard eliminating any of this overage. Doesn't line up perfectly at the back, but at the front it's good. Everything is a little bit twisted. It's not perfect. This is like a really artistic kind of creation, so there's bending room. Try and line that up. Oh! Now I'm not looking to spread these much because that'll just create a stress zone in here that'll never go away, but just enough to make sure that we have positive contact. The fit isn't perfect. I really had to grind it to make it fit this way because the legs aren't perfectly parallel. They're a little twisty. I'm just trying to get the most contact so that it looks real nice. Just gonna pop that back up. I want this to be nice. Perfect. If there's a little overlap, I'll just sand. Now I'm just going to give this a completely different attempt. I'm going to try and go in this way. See, it just spoke to me, if you know what I mean. That's what wheel builders say. When you're building a bicycle wheel, you say, I don't know, it just spoke to me. Oh yeah, I was worried if I did this it would pop it back out. But we're getting lots of overage, which means full contact is happening. I'm happy enough with the position of it. If anything needs to be trimmed down at the end, I mean it's a little asymmetrical, but that's kind of the whole focus of this project. It's going in a funky tiny home. It's going to be funky, it's going to be asymmetric, it's going to be a little all over the place, and that's what's great about it. It could be better, but it could certainly have gone a lot worse as well. And there you have it. Looks fantastic up front. Not perfect out back. It's really hard. I might just stick, you know, a little Gorilla Glue in there to expand that gap, but for now I'm just going to let this white glue harden. And yeah, that's going to be real nice. Pretty soon here, other than a few final little finishing touches like some sanding and stuff, this thing's actually going to be ready for fitting. And that is going to be nuts. Till the next segment, thanks for watching. Well, the project is complete. Unfortunately, I didn't get the last parts of the process on video, so here I am showing you guys a few pictures. The only thing that I had to figure out was the height of the table, which is 29.5 inches. Seems to work quite well. And everything else went smoothly, so hopefully you enjoyed the video. Thanks for sticking with me until the end. And don't forget to check out my channel and leave a comment. Give a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe.